Hey YouTube, are you interested in manifesting? Have you been researching how to manifest something into your life? Well, I came across an incredible video today of Charlie Murphy in 2004 on the Howard Stern show on the E channel, in the height of Howard Stern and Charlie Murphy's success from the Chappelle Show, back when his sudden rise to fame uh, with the Rick James stories back in 2004. If you aren't familiar with it, it was a phenomenon that really skyrocketed Charlie Murphy, the older brother of Eddie Murphy, to worldwide fame. But Charlie Murphy here in this clip reveals to Howard Stern how his brother Eddie Murphy manifested becoming a success very early on in his life, and how you can do the same. You can incorporate the same technique into your daily manifestation, meditating routine, prayer routine, and piggybacking on this from the teachings of Neville Goddard, and Neville Goddard got his teachings and instruction from the Bible, that the word manifest appears 37 times in the Bible. But before we get into the clip of Eddie Murphy and Howard Stern, I just want to read to you a few things that I've written down from one of Neville Goddard's books, which is The Feeling is the Secret from 1944 by Neville Goddard. But to assume you already are who you wish to be. And this is what you'll see what Eddie Murphy did as a young child with him and Charlie Murphy, that they would play around doing this, to assume the feeling you already are who you wish to be, and to cast yourself in the star role of your own show. As you sleep, you rehearse your part in your own show. So you cast yourself as the star. You already see yourself as the star at whatever it is that you want to be. And here it's literally being a star of a show, but it could be anything, that you're a success, that you see yourself already as a success, and that you assume the feeling and you dwell in the feeling fulfilled, the wish fulfilled. That you as you fall asleep, you're feeling satisfied and happy because you're seeing yourself in that star role as you sleep. You rehearse yourself in that part. So pray and sleep like you've already received your wish fulfilled, that you assume the feeling and you accept the wish as fact. Feel the wish fulfilled to become a success. That is a prayer of success. So that's interesting that I read that last night, that I wrote that down last night, and then I find this video of Charlie Murphy on the Howard Stern show basically confirming this that I studied last night. It's almost like I manifested this video of Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy. All right, so let's get into it. This is 2004 Howard Stern show, back when Howard was at the peak of his success on the E Entertainment channel. He's no longer on there, but this is it's really cool. But Howard Stern just released this clip on his YouTube channel a couple days ago. All right, here we go.
Murphy's older brother. Show business?
No.
You didn't always want to be the brother. Did you always want to be in show business?
No.
You didn't always want to be in show business?
No, but we used to play a game when we was little. It was called This Is My Show.
Mm-hmm.
And what we would do is we would stand in front of the mirror, and whoever was in front of the mirror, the other one would push that guy. This is my show. And I push him out the mirror. No, it's my show.
In a way, that's been your whole life. He became a superstar.
Yeah, what were you doing?
No, when we were playing that game, I was just playing the game. I wasn't even thinking about.
He was for real.
He was for real.
Oh, he's always been for real, 100%.
So what were you doing when he...
Murphy's older brother. Did you always want...
Let's listen to this again. We're going to listen to it a couple times, but this is just an incredible, powerful manifesting technique that Charlie Murphy I really wish he would have gone in depth into this, but and other things that Eddie Murphy recall other things that Eddie Murphy did as a young adult, as a kid. I mean, this is probably, they're playing in front of the mirror. I mean, this is probably kid stuff, but Charlie remembers this, that Eddie Murphy was serious about This Is My Show, about becoming a star, a success at an early age. And he was dreaming and the wish fulfilled, that he was assuming that this was already his reality as an early, very early in his life. And this is a powerful manifesting technique that Charlie Murphy talks about, that we can incorporate into our lives, whether that's, you're wanting to be a star in film, or, on stage, or just in life, fill in the blank, assuming your wish fulfilled, assuming you already are the person that you want to be, that you strive to be, that you already imagine it as it's here right now, that you're already in that star role, that you cast yourself in that star role of your own play, which is your life. It's awesome. Just incredible. Let's listen to it again.
Want to be in show business?
No.
You didn't always want to be in show business.
No, but we used to play a game when we was little. It was called This Is My Show.
Mm-hmm.
And what we would do is we would stand in front of the mirror, and whoever was in front of the mirror, the other one would push that guy. This is my show. And I push him out the mirror. No, it's my show.
In a way, that's been your whole life. He became a superstar.
Yeah, what were you doing?
No, when we were playing that game, I was just playing the game. I wasn't even thinking about.
He was for real.
He was for real.
Oh, he's always been for real, 100%.
So what were you doing when he was, this 17-year-old?
So Eddie Murphy was for real, and this is an active form of manifestation that's a little bit different than what Neville Goddard and some other manifesting experts that I've read about hint on, because it's more like Neville Goddard's more like praying and meditating of your wish fulfilled, like you're laying down in your bed at night. This is Eddie Murphy's manifestation technique, or one of them, that he was actively imagining, participating in his own show, that he had, and Neville Goddard wrote, imagine yourself as a star in your own play. But he was doing that as you're laying down at night, sleeping, about to go to sleep, as you're drifting off to sleep. Eddie Murphy was wide awake, actively participating in an imaginary show, that he could see the show. And that's the thing. It's like God gives each of us, we're all unique, and that God will give us glimpses of our own dreams that other people can't see. Eddie Murphy saw it, and Charlie Murphy and Eddie Murphy go on. Two brothers grew up in the same household, looking at the same mirror. They go on two very different life trajectories. Eddie Murphy skyrockets to success, whereas in Charlie Murphy plummets down. I mean, he was in jail for a long time. So they took, in the same households, but two brothers took very different paths. And this is, I believe, in a large part of how they were thinking. And they just said Eddie Murphy was for real. That, he said, this is my show. Charlie Murphy was just goofing around with Eddie in the mirror saying, oh, this is my show. No, this is my show. Eddie Murphy was for real. This is my show. Like, I see this happening. Like, people don't realize it yet. This is my dream, but this is going to happen. And it did. I mean, Eddie Murphy called that into being. He assumed the wish fulfilled. That his prayer that he did not, Eddie Murphy, and this is what a lot of people do, they backslide, or they flip-flop, or they bring in those negative ideas, or, they let negative thinking or backsliding thinking cause them to possibly talk themselves out of their own dream or manifestation. Eddie Murphy didn't do that. You know, that he was for real. He was serious about it. And from an early age, apparently, a very early age, that this is my show. You know, that he saw it. And he called that out of the ether. And you see, we're about to finish up the clip here, but we're going to see how Charlie Murphy went on a very, basically the total opposite life trajectory as Eddie Murphy. So it's just another example of the power of our thoughts. What we believe in our heart is possible, and to take it seriously.
Kid going to the comedy clubs and
Getting arrested, I was different.
Were you?
Really?
Were you in trouble with the law?
Quite a bit, yes.
Were you ever in prison, though?
Nassau County Jail was as far as it went for me.
Right.
And, I got my life together after that.
Right. Did your brother help you with that? Like he made you a bodyguard?
Not at all. What happened was this. When I was the kind of, I think what I really think affected me the most was, when I was 10 years old, my father was murdered.
Right.
Okay? And I didn't realize it, but I guess it had an effect on me. I became,
Angry.
Angry or whatever, yeah. Then we moved to a new town.
Where'd you move to?
Roosevelt.
Oh,
I lived in
that's where
Brooklyn before that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We moved to Roosevelt, and then, I was an outcast in Roosevelt because I was from Brooklyn.
Right.
So then, I banded together because that year, for some reason, there was a lot of people, like a mass migration of people from the city moving out to the island.
Right.
So we all became a crew.
Right. All the new guys from
All
Brooklyn.
the new guys became a crew because it was like, oh, yeah, you want to jump me because I'm from Brooklyn? Well, here's my boy from the Bronx, my other boy from Harlem.
Right.
Now jump us.
It's a very tough neighborhood. Having grown up there,
Right.
I certainly couldn't join any gang, but I would have in a minute had I been able to, because I would have received some protection. I know what you mean. I was a guy who was
needed friends,
an outcast, and also a dickhead. Did they ever catch your dad's killers?
The woman that killed my father.
Oh, it was a woman.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why did a woman kill your father?
Lovers quarrel.
Lovers quarrel.
Oh, so your parents
one of the
weren't
oldest
together?
Stories, no, they weren't together.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of the oldest stories in the books. I tell my kids, man, hey, man, if the girl is mad, don't close your eyes.
So watching Eddie's success had to be bittersweet for a guy like you because
it was not bittersweet. It was. I can't tell you
bitter.
how proud I am about my brother. There's nothing bitter about it.
Be honest for a minute.
I'm being totally honest.
There must have been times.
I'm explaining to you why I wasn't.
All right.
I know my family's history.
Go ahead.
From the boat when they first brought us over here.
Right.
So to see someone rise above that, okay?
Right.
Because before my generation or whatever, I can't look back and go, oh, yeah, my uncle went to Harvard and then he was this.
Right.
No, we was, regular American black people, struggling to get ahead. And then one of us broke through. The first time I seen my brother perform on stage, the feeling that he gave me, I can still feel that feeling right now.
By the way,
sometimes it gives me goosebumps. And when I seen the crowd react to him, and yeah, I'm very proud of him.
I feel your brother is probably the greatest stand-up I've ever seen. Now,
well, I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
And I've told Eddie that. But Eddie made you his bodyguard. In a way that...
Well, when I came out the Navy, that's all I was actually qualified to do. I was
right.
When I was in the Navy, I worked in the boiler room.
Right. So you got out and Eddie gave you a job.
didn't have a boiler room where he needed
now look,
employees. So
you get out of the Navy. Yeah. Your brother's a superstar.
Superstar.
You're the bodyguard brother, and everyone looks at you like, oh, man, he's just there because Eddie's giving him a job. I mean...
I never went to my brother and asked him for anything.
Nothing. He put you on salary.
My brother put me on salary. He gave me a job. I didn't ask him to give me a job.
Right.
He asked me, do I want to work for him?
Right. And all you got to do is hang out and protect Eddie.
Yeah, but what happened was I was overzealous, so...
And what happened?
Uh-oh.
What does that mean?
I was jumping on people for not laughing,
You better...
Did you start kicking some ass and everything?
If you said anything wrong, you know what? To an extent, I'm still like that. I'm very protective of both of my younger brothers.
Right. So if I said something bad, you would jump on my ass, and that's why.
Now I've grown since then. I don't. I can handle it with my mouth.
So did they have to
just talk?
So did they have to call you aside and say you can't?
Eddie sat me down one day and said, "Look, man, I really like having you around and everything. But,
you're a good guy."
Last night when you stomped that guy just because he didn't laugh.
Right. So what happened? So did you get in trouble with the law when you started to be an overly aggressive bodyguard?
Yeah, man, there was some stuff that went down where, I had to leave L.A. for a while, as a matter of fact.
Well, now you're getting some real fame.
Oh, yeah.
And people are recognizing
real.
People are recognizing that you're funny. So how did you make that move? How did you hook up with Chappelle, and how did you start being known as a funny guy in your own right?
The way I hooked up with Chappelle had nothing to do with being funny. It was from the movies I had done. And the movies that I had done, I had been in comedies, but they always would hire me to be the mean guy.
Right.
And I kept going after that, but they was always casting me in comedy. So how bad could you really be looked at if it's a comedy? But I kept doing it, and it ended up with me eventually going to Chappelle.
The brother.
This is just incredible. Just an incredible interview that. And Charlie just touches on so many different aspects. He basically just told us an entire life story in 5 minutes on the Howard Stern show. And Howard Stern has an ability to just get the most out of people. That he might be the best interviewer of my lifetime. But regardless, Charlie Murphy just dropped a lot of lessons, life lessons that we can take, that we can incorporate into our personal lives. So, the first thing, and the difference between him and Eddie Murphy, that eventually it worked out for Charlie, but he went through the school of hard knocks, which is what I think the vast majority of humans go through. It's a school of hard knocks. Whereas there's some people out there that it can be us that manifest this success. I'm like, man, this is such a successful person. Well, that can be us too. And it starts with your mind. And how, first of all, how Eddie Murphy assumed the wish fulfilled. That he was already, as a young child, saying, this is my show, in the mirror. Imagine it like it was already here, like it was here now, that he was the star now. And that their father was murdered. I did not realize that. How tragic. And so they took this horrible tragedy, and yet Eddie Murphy, his thoughts, he channeled his thoughts into becoming a success. And Charlie touches base on how he took that tragedy and he took all that anger inside of him. And so instead of, and we as humans, this is just on a human level, that we're all very similar, and how we have to be aware of our thoughts and our feelings, because our thoughts, if we're thinking angry and if we're thinking wrong, and we have to dwell on things that are good, and that's why we need, I'm a Christian, that we need Jesus Christ. We need Adonai to help us stay positive, to help us think godly things, good things, to where that's the way we're thinking right, we're thinking good, to where we can manifest good things and good thoughts and do good things and live a good life, to where we can bring glory to God and be a good example of living a godly life. But if we're not thinking good things and we take that anger into our heart, it will manifest bad things, to where Charlie was in and out of jail most of his teen and young adult life. You see polar opposites of life trajectories from two brothers in the same household who went through the same things. So it's very powerful of how I heard a story. Life is 90%. I'm messing up the quote here, but when things happen to you, it's not about how you. It's not about what happens to you. It's how you deal with it. And this is a perfect example of that, of two brothers in the same household, both going under the same traumatic life, but yet their thought processes is what made all the difference. Let's listen to it. Let's listen to the manifesting part again about Eddie Murphy.
Did you always want to be in show business?
No.
You didn't always want to be in show business.
No, but we used to play a game when we was little. It was called This Is My Show.
Mm-hmm.
And what we would do is we would stand in front of the mirror, and whoever was in front of the mirror, the other one would push that guy. This is my show. And I push him out the mirror. No, it's my show.
In a way, that's been your whole life. He became a superstar.
Yeah, what were you
No,
doing?
when we were playing that game, I was just playing the game. I wasn't even thinking about.
He was for real.
He was for real.
Oh, he's always been for real, 100%.
So what
know.
were you doing when he was, this 17-year-old kid going to the comedy clubs and
Getting arrested,
discovered?
I was different.
Oh,
Were you?
really?
Were you in trouble with the law?
Quite a bit, yes.
Were you ever in prison, though?
Nassau County Jail was as far as it went for me.
Right.
And, I got my life together after that.
Right. Did your brother help you with that? Like he made you a bodyguard?
Not at all. What happened was this. When I was I think what I really think affected me the most was, when I was 10 years old, my father was murdered.
Right.
Okay? And I didn't realize it, but I guess it had an effect on me. I became,
Angry.
Angry or whatever, yeah, then we moved to a new town.
Where'd you move to?
Roosevelt.
Oh,
I lived in
that's where
Brooklyn before that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
We moved to Roosevelt, and then, I was an outcast in Roosevelt because I was from Brooklyn.
Right.
So then, I banded together because that year, for some reason, there was a lot of people, like a mass migration of people from the city moving out to the island.
Right.
So we all became a crew.
Right. All the new guys from
All
Brooklyn.
the new guys became a crew because it was like, oh, yeah, you want to jump me because I'm from Brooklyn? Well, here's my boy from the Bronx, my other boy from Harlem.
Right.
Now jump us.
It's a very tough neighborhood. Having grown up there,
Right.
I certainly couldn't join any gang, but I would have in a minute had I been able to because I would have received some protection. I know what you mean. I was a guy who
You
was
needed friends,
an
huh?
outcast, and also
So, we hear that here about, I forgot to close my screen here to where you can see Charlie, but it's incredible that this story that on Howard Stern 2004 interview of how the different path trajectories of Eddie Murphy and Charlie Murphy, the night and day difference between their lives, and it started with their thought process and how they internalized the same tragedy that they went through. That Eddie Murphy, from a young age, imagined that he was the star of his own show, that this is my show. And Charlie just took it as, Eddie goofing off, killing time. But no, Eddie saw it. He saw something no one else could see. And I'm speaking to somebody out there who's listening to this, is that God gave you a specific dream in your heart that no one else can see. Because no one else is you. You are unique. Of all the billions of people walking around right now on this earth, God gave you a specific dream, a specific gift that no one else can see. Only you can see and feel it. And to not let, this is a prime example of to not let your circumstances or events that happen to you take the dream out of your heart that God uniquely gave to you. And it could be, and it varies from person to person, to start that business or to write that book or, to go back to school or to, write that screenplay or become an actor or what have you, whatever it is. It's going to be different for each person. But this is one of the best manifesting stories that I've ever heard. And it happened to me the morning after I'm reading about Neville Goddard's, manifesting techniques, where he says, to dream that you are, as you go to sleep, to dream that you are the star of your own show, that you already are assuming how it feels to be the success that you want to be, that you dream and the wish fulfilled, and you stay there till you're feeling positive and you're feeling happy. And that's what Eddie Murphy was naturally doing at a very young age. Which is incredible, right? That he, some people can Some people are such geniuses that they naturally do what the vast majority of us uh, stumble across later on in life. But Eddie was doing this naturally as a little kid. And Charlie, this is just so great that Charlie was able to do this interview with Howard Stern, that we have this. It's just another incredible example of a manifesting technique, of manifesting to pray and meditate and to dream in the, stay in the wish fulfilled. Imagine that you already are the success that you want to be. Another great example of this is Jim Carrey. Like when Jim Carrey was, he has another great example that when he was a struggling comedian, he would drive up to an overlooking L.A. and he would just imagine that he was already the success that he wanted to be, and that he wrote himself a check for $10 million, several years before he was a success, that he had already assumed that he kept it around in his wallet, that he already assumed that he was this the success that he wanted to be, and here and now. And the power of the mind. This is an example of the power of the mind, and how we have to, going back to a biblical perspective, that we have to put on the armor of God to protect ourselves from bad emotions, bad thoughts, and to dwelling on negativity. To where Charlie, after the tragedy, the family tragedy, Charlie took in all of this anger and negativity. And so all of these thoughts, angry thoughts, manifested in his mind. And then after dwelling on this negativity, it eventually manifested itself outwardly, physically, to where he started to act out and get arrested and go into jail. So, his life took a downward spiral, whereas in Eddie Murphy's, it was inclined, superstar, right? So, it's the power of the mind, and to staying positive, and to, when you find yourself thinking negative thoughts or dwelling in, almost like a river, that your mind is kind of like a river. And when you find yourself pooling in the negative thoughts, let's say if you ever go canoeing, right? So you go canoeing. Well, as you go canoeing, you're going down the river. You can see over to the left or the right of the river these small pools of stagnant water that get caught over there. It's not, they get away from the main stream of the river, but it's like a little creek of stagnant water that's got moss and mold and algae growing on it, a bunch of mosquitoes. That's kind of like negative thoughts. And so that's where the negativity's over there pooling up, and it's like on the creek bank. And it's like, that's not where you want to stay. And that's the negativity. And, so, and it can lead to depression. That can happen to anybody. And so you have to really take thought, be aware of what you're thinking. Like, oh man, I'm thinking negative. To where you have to take account of that and to put your armor on, your mental armor of God, to help you think right and do right. To reject those negative feelings and those negative thoughts. And to stay focused and manifesting good things and godly things that can bring glory to God, and to where you see that you're a success, and not to let those negative thoughts, angry thoughts in, because you see the sharp contrasts of their life trajectories of Charlie Murphy and Eddie Murphy. And this is the prime example of positive affirmations and manifestations and prayers. Very powerful. I don't know if having love in your heart, this is one of the most powerful manifesting stories and contrasts of positive manifestations and negative, angry manifestations that I've ever seen. And this is a great example. And I really hope that you got something positive out of this video. I want to thank Howard Stern for posting this video. It's been and if you got something out of this video, if you've watched this video to the end, please consider liking this video and subscribing and hitting that bell for other notifications. This is Kyle Graves Live. Thank you very much, YouTube, and take it easy, and I'll see you later. All right.